Hello, everyone. Let's take a look at IST679 Lab J on Elasticsearch and Kibana. Okay, and here's the lab, and we're just going to kind of go through each of these questions. There's 9 of them, and see how we do. Okay, so question number 1 says, turn on the tweets from example J Elasticsearch notebook. Search for tweets in the last 5 minutes from the command line with curl. All right. First, let's turn the tweets on. So I'm out here in Spark, and I believe it's in this JSearch unit. And here's the tweet simulator. And I think it said something about changing the way the tweets work to every. It didn't really. It just says search for tweets in the last 5 minutes. Okay. So I'm going to just turn the tweet simulator on. And let's set a tweet limit of 100, and the minimum delay is 1 second, and the maximum delay is like, I don't know, 5 seconds. That's good. And then I'm going to run these tweets. Okay, and I gotta run this first. I always forget to do the Spark session. All right, now I got the Spark session. Let's start it. Okay, and it just starts spitting out fake tweets. And it is using curl to post, which is how we send data to Elastic. Okay, and I'm going to use the same curl command to search for data, because that's what we want. And I'm going to open up a terminal, and I'm going to say, "Oop, that's not what we want." That was a paste buffer from a long time ago. Let's look at that curl again. Curl x get. So curl. Zoom in a bit. Curl x get. This part says we're going to do an HTTP get, which is, just like going to a browser. And then after we do that, we're going to put in the URL. Then we have to put in the index, which is tweets. And then I think we need an endpoint search. Let's see if this works. Okay, and we get a bunch of stuff back here, and there's a way to pass in on the URL. There's a way to pass in pretty. So it makes it a little easier to sort of look at it. So, and this is one of the tweets, and then this is another tweet, and this is another tweet. Okay, so that part seems to be working pretty good. Now, if you want to search for something, you have to include the Q for query, right? The Q it does a query, and so I can, like, maybe I want to search for love, right? So I could say Q love, and I will just get back things with love in it. Maybe. Just make sure I did this right. I think I need to put this in quotes because of that ampersand. This is a Unix thing. You just can't have these funky symbols like this question mark and this ampersand just kicking out there in the old ether. You gotta escape them so that the shell doesn't get confused. Okay, so I need to put quotes around them. There we go. So I got a love there, and a love there, and I love there. A lot of love for FudgeMart. Yeah, they're just random tweets. All right. So now that we have that figured out, let's answer the question. Let's answer the question. I'm just going to copy this because anything that's useful, I like to copy. All right, so let's go figure out what we're asking here. We want to know the tweets in the last 5 minutes. So there's no way to do delta math here. You just have to do the math yourself, as it says. Do the math yourself. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to say, I want to use this syntax that we saw. I'm trying to figure out where we saw it. Right here, where you say, I want to query, and then this is the field. Whoop. This is the field. Oh, man. Oh, shama ding dong. This is the field, and then this is the range. So we're going to say this is going to be 5 minutes ago. Okay? So how do we do that? Well, it's not easy to figure out. So if you look at these timestamps, right, you can, let's get, what is it right now? Right now, I'm just going to say date. Okay, it's 1:43 p.m. UTC. Okay, so I'm just going to go 5 minutes back from that. So 5 minutes back from that is 1:37. 1:37. That's close enough. So I'm going to say where timestamp format. I'm going to say 2022. Oh 0405 or 0415, and then 15, or yeah, it's 13:37:00. There you go. And then 2 star. And that's the range I want to search. Now this is probably not going to work. It's why I picked this particular example, because you're going to get this bad position where it's like, I don't like this dash, pretty much is what it's saying. So there's a way to deal with this in curl. This is not a Elasticsearch problem, it's a curl problem. And you need to, I think the option in here is one of these guys, glob off, disable URL sequences and ranges. You got to glob it off. Okay, so you got to do -G to glob it off. It still might not work. Still got an error. It doesn't like the fact that there's a space in here. It doesn't know how to deal with this space. Here. So I need to put some quotes around this, but since I already used double quotes, I got to now use single quotes like that. There we go. Still doesn't like, I think it's 01, but still might not be the reason, right? So here's another way to do this. So let's go back and look at this information without the timestamp in there. There's more than one way to do this, which is a good thing. So rather than use the timestamp, I'm just going to use the time. I could probably get that time to work better. Let's just do time. And let's try it this way. And then I'll add the date in there. Okay. If I don't need the quotes now. Am I still globbing this? I'm still globbing it. Right. I'm just going to check it one more time. And you can't, bottom line here is you can't do it this way because it doesn't know how to sort that. So the range doesn't work. Like I can do this and get a time, right? Let me do this here. That works. Like there's 13 in there. And then I can do time 13, 37, 38, I guess. But I got that colon in there, so I gotta do that. Now I get 1338, right? So I wonder if I could do like time 1338 to star. I wonder if that works. See, and that doesn't work because it doesn't know how to compare that because it's not a number, right? So that won't work. I sort of did this on purpose to show you that this is where Cabana comes in handy because you can specify when you build the index which values are time oriented, and then once you do that, you can make time oriented decisions. So the best thing that you can do here is maybe use the timestamp list, which would get really ugly because you'd have a lot of ands in there. You'd have to say, it would just be really ugly and not easy to do. Okay, so not easy to do. That's the point. So let me show you how it's a little easier to do in Cabana. So I'm out here in the Cabana dashboard. We're going to do number 2 now because number 2 in the homework says, let's try to do the same thing in Cabana. All right. And first thing we need to do is create that index under stack management, an index pattern. And you see I already made it. Okay. And date is a date. And let's see here. Time is text. I wonder if I could change that type to time. See if there's a way to do that. Add field. Is there a time? There's a date, but there's no time. Okay. So we can try to deal with it off of time, but we do have date in there. So let's see what we got. Let's see how this works. I'm going to go back to analytics and discover, and okay, let's see here. And then here's my stuff. Now, because it's time series data, I can use this to pick a time range, right? So like I can say, let's do 5 minutes from now. Okay, so that's probably not what I meant. Maybe I want 5 minutes before now. So maybe let's try 5 months. See what happens. So that's from now. Now. Salute. So today's the 15th. Okay, update. All right. Just go back a little further. Okay. So, yeah, I got some data from the 14th in there. And got some additional data in there. Right? So you can see if you don't set up, the time format correctly, it becomes hard to do this. I wonder if it's easier to do, excuse me, in KSQL. I don't know. And that's kind of why I'm playing around with it. Let's do timestamp format. And I could do equals and exists, but I can't do greater than or less than. So that doesn't help. I can try to find a certain timestamp. Like, let's see if this one, see right here, I got 1339. Let's try this one. Let's do timestamp format. In that, oh man, it doesn't like these colons in here. There we go. So that gets me pretty close to what I wanted, but still not exactly what I wanted. And this is why it's important when you're adding your data, and this is sort of the thought process behind what I'm making you do here, is it's important that when you add the data here and you set the time series in here, right? See that? That I set it properly. See, the time series here is set to date, but it's not even using the right, here's the timestamp, 4/15/1339, but it's using April 14th, and it's using the same time. So I need to do a better job of formatting the date format so that it gets picked up properly by Elasticsearch, okay? And, I probably should have read the docs to figure out sort of how to do that. And of course, I didn't. And then that's why we have what we have. And that's why we have this issue where you can't do effective query on the time series data. Okay, and this is somewhat problematic, right? You can't get the answers out that you want because you didn't store the data in Elastic properly. So, that is the one lesson that I wanted you to learn here with 1 and 2. When I originally set out to do these questions, I said to myself, all right, this will be a really interesting challenge that I can show the students and also demonstrate the flaw in the way that we originally picked up these date and time fields. So I wonder if there's a way to sort of fix this if I may, let me see if I can fix this, because it's always a lesson in stack management. And go to Cabana index patterns, and let's see if I can edit the fields in here and do it. All right, well, after some deliberation, I figured it out, and I tried a couple of different things, and I guess I should maybe share with you what I did. So now let me just talk about the final product. So if I go in here, and you'll see I have a timestamp that is recognized. See this timestamp here? Where is it? Right here. My timestamp format is now recognized as a legitimate timestamp with date and time. And now, when you go to use this time filter up here, it is pretty accurate. So I can say as of 10:30 update, and you'll see that things change down here. So I got 10:37 I got 9, 10:38 I got 9, 10:38 I got 10, 10:39 I got 7. And this is what happens when you have time series data configured correctly. And the key here is to make sure that your time field in Cabana is configured correctly. So let me just walk you through what I had to do to make this work. So there's lots of wrong ways to do this, as I've discovered in Elasticsearch, and I guess maybe I should share that with you. Even though I know when you go to do this for real and for a living, you'll have a lot more time. You'll become way more expert at Elasticsearch than I ever am. But anyway, in Elastic, where I have my tweets, now the mappings show that the timestamp is a date before it was a text. You cannot edit the mappings when you need to pretty much destroy the index and then create new mappings. So one of the things I saw, excuse me, in the documentation is that to infer a timestamp, it must be of a very specific format. And so what I did was I changed my Python program around to emit that particular format. So now, to generate a timestamp in here, it was this format. If I find it, it was this format. And then I changed it to this format, which is an ISO standard format of year, month, day, and then T as a separator between hours, minutes, and seconds. Now you might say, well, why couldn't you just add a calculated column that put that T in there and then set that, in Elastic, in Kibana? The problem with doing that is you are not leveraging the inverted index, because you actually have to scour the original data and then derive another column from that data. So it's very anti-pattern for Elastic. The idea is that you want the data to hit Elastic with the format set properly. And this is what's going to probably take you the most amount of time as you're dumping data into Elastic, is making sure that things are suitable for use in Elastic. Okay. Now you can always build your own. You can always build your own custom mapping, but that is sort of beyond the scope of the class. And what we wanted to do is just infer the right mapping. So what I did was I changed the Python program around to provide the right format, which in turn derives the right mapping. So when I save this sim tweet init.py, and then I reran, I restarted the kernel and reran this. Now the timestamp format has a T in it. See that right there? It's got a T in it. T's right there. And because that T's in there, what happens now is when you ingest into Elastic, it recognizes it as a date field. All's good. Let me rerun this. All's good. And thus, when you go to query it out in the dashboard using either KQL or Lucene, things just work the way you'd expect. And then also I can muck with the time series data as well, so that I can pick a range of time or relative time. Let's see what happened 5 minutes ago. Now this will work. So that is the lesson. I guess I wanted to infer from questions 1 and 2. It's now 24 minutes into it. Is that unless you have a good timestamp and it's configured as a date in Elastic, it's nigh impossible to find out what happened 5 minutes ago, or find out what happened 3 days ago, or whatever. Any of those things are going to be incredibly difficult to do unless you have the time series set correctly. Okay, so that was very long and drawn out and ugly, but that's pretty much the answers to 1 and 2. So what must you do before and why? You got to make sure you have a good a good time series set. So that means some column in your source data that Elasticsearch will find, and by default, if the format is like this: years, month, day, time, hours, minutes, seconds. It'll locate it'll locate that and recognize that it's something that Elastic can use as a timestamp. Okay. All right. So that's number 2. So let's move on to number 3. Write PySpark to load a 16,000 line weather data set into Elasticsearch under the index weather with the default index type. Okay, let's try to do this. Let's see if we can do number 3. Okay, I'm out here in a fresh Jupyter notebook. I'm just going to paste the instructions in there. Let's go over to here and grab this setup for Spark. Okay, I'll put that in a cell, run that. Run it again so we don't see all the warnings. And again, I'm loading those jar packages, and I need to, let's see what this says here. Let's move this down. 1600 line weather data set. So the weather data set is located here. Weather JSON or weather CSV, I guess it doesn't matter. So this is not Elastic. I think it's got option multi-line true. That's my guess. And we're going to read, and it's home Jovian data sets weather JSON. Okay. See if it works. Got a mistake, because that's usually what I do. Wrong file. All right, I always do this. I always miss a slash here. It's file, and then the first thing you need is a slash. I think I make this mistake more often than not. Okay, it's reading it in. There we go. It's got it. All right, now we're going to put this in there. Now, one of the things I want to do, because we just learned this, is I want to make sure my date format is going to come in as time series data. Otherwise, what is the point? Right? So I am going to want to make sure that works. So let's take a look and see what, all we really have in here is date. Let's see what that looks like. I don't know why I keep rereading it. So it has dates, but it doesn't have times. But these should be able to come in and be used in the Elastic as a date format. So that should be good. Okay. So that part is taken care of. Now I need to finish with the second half of it, which is I need to load this into Elasticsearch with the index weather. Right. So if you remember this would be W write format, and I think it's just ES. One place to look is if I go here to JSearch and go down here and let's clear all the output. Let's just see what we got here. Yeah, format ES. Format ES. Okay. Mode overwrite. And then you're going to put in the index and then the type. Right? I guess I could take this. Just copy it to have it. So it's going to be write mode overwrite format Elasticsearch. I want to save this as weather doc. And it's going to grind it out into Elasticsearch. Okay. again, the golden rule of Elasticsearch, you don't want to put it in there until it's exactly the way you want it, because you can't do significant manipulations to the index, right? So this is where Spark comes in handy. Get it the way you want it, then write it to Elastic. Okay, there's no joins or anything like that in Elastic. It's just not that kind of tool. So get things in there exactly the way you want them and make sure that Elastic can read them. All right, so over here in Elastic, I think this is part of the same question. If I go and look, let's just take a look that it worked. I'm going to go down here to index management, weather. There it is. Okay. Looks good. And I have 1,600 docs in there. That's right. Okay. So now it's telling me to painfully use curl again to query it. Right. So now it says use curl from the command line to demonstrate that there are 1,600 documents in the weather index. Do you remember how to do this? This should be easy. This should be the easy curl. All right. I believe I'm going to go back to my terminal. And I am going to clear this. And then let's do a get. And then the index I want to get is called weather. And then what I want is a count. Right? I think it's just that. And there are 1,600 documents in there. There are one shard. Okay, it's a one-node Elasticsearch cluster. I'm going to put pretty true on here. See if that makes a difference. There we go. And there you go. It's easier to read. Okay, so I did that. That is the answer to the next one. Okay, moving on to number 5. Set up a weather index pattern in Kibana based on the weather index from Elasticsearch. Make sure you have a geopoint based on lat/lon and have selected a timestamp using the date field. Okay, provide a screenshot. Yeah. Okay, let's try this one out. So I'm going to go back here to Kibana. I'm going to go to index patterns. I'm just going to put in an index pattern of weather. Matches one source, that's fine. And then I will select as my timestamp field date. A date is a column, an attribute or a field, if you will, inside the weather docs. All right, and then now I have the data, and it is sequenced in a time-oriented fashion. I hate how it shows me just a few at a time. It's kind of annoying. But if I keep looking around, I'll see that this one here is on an index. And I do want to show you a little tip here. You can go here and change the format. So by default, it shows it like this, but I could change that format to, different. I can format it differently if I want. That's fine. So a month, day, year. But I'm going to keep it year, month, day. I don't want to do it. I guess I could do it like that. I don't know. I'm going to go back to what I had it as. There. Okay. So that's good to go. Everything's all set there. Let's add another field to derive our lat/long. So I'm going to call this geo. Going to be of type geopoint. So I'll call it lat/long. And let's set that value. And we're going to emit. I think we've done this a few times already. And we're going to emit doc lat value doc value. You get something like that. There you go. And see, now that turns it into a set of coordinates. Now, these are the kinds of transformations that are okay in Elastic, but things that need to rebuild the index are not things you want to do. So in your screenshot, you probably want to make sure you have at least shown, that you added that derived column, right? Lat long, and you want to make sure that the date is set. Those would be in your screenshots. All right, let's demonstrate our cabana index pattern is functional. For the most recent entry, get the weather for the city of your choice. I guess they mean for the most recent date entry. Get the weather of a city of your choice. All right, let's go to here. Let's go up to Discover. I'm going to pick a city. And tweets. I gotta be in the right place. Weather. I don't want to show last 5 minutes. It's time-oriented data, so I gotta fix this. Let's do relative. Let's do absolute and see what we got. It's on the 15th. Update. Okay, no match. So let me fix this now. Select. Start date. Date. Okay, nothing. So I'm going to blow this out. This is the problem with when you have time-oriented data is, you might have, I don't remember when I took these samples of these weather samples. So I'm just going to keep going back till I find some data here. If I can just go back really far. Take out the word city. That would probably help. Okay, there's some data. All right, so let's look in here. There's a date of, where's the date in here? The date is 6 months ago, it says. Okay, so it's been a while. Let's just do date 2021. Can't do that. Sometimes it's easier to look at the raw index. I'm in KQL. I'm probably going to switch it off. I'm going to switch it off. I'm like all over the place here. There we go. Date. Let's do it this way. Show them all again. Why it just says 6 months ago? That's not good. I need to know what that date is. 6 months ago doesn't help me. But I guess I can go here and look. 2021 9/30. 2021 9/30. I need to escape this. No. Quotes. Now here's a trick. Since I can't figure it out here, I'm going to go over here, and then I'm going to select this, and then there you go. So because I set it as the time series, I can only filter it over here. That's what's going on here. So now I have different 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. So I want the most recent. I'm going to pick this one. So that's going to set it. And now I'm going to search by city. I know. pain in the neck, but it's important to understand how the time series stuff works in Elastic. And let's search Syracuse. Okay, and there we go. There's the data point for Syracuse on that date. Okay. All right. So I answered the question, which, let's see, did I answer the question? I don't know. Yep, it does work. Most recent entry, city of your choice. Most recent entry, it's this one, right? Again, if I go back and just change this to, I don't know, September 2021 to now, you'll see I get a bunch of data points. And so I'm picking this particular date, which is the most recent, 10/25. Okay. And then city of Syracuse. Alrighty, let's move on. Create a Cabana map displaying weather locations for the most recent weather data. Use any layer of your data you wish. I guess I'll use temperature then. And I'll put the data points on the map, and then I'll actually try the time series while I'm at it because I'm just that kind of crazy guy. So let's go back here. Let's do map. Maps. Create map. Let's add a layer. And let's do... Let's do points. Let's try this one. Weather. And there's all the weather. Now I wonder what these mean. You know, they're just dots, right? And that's the geospatial field that shows me where it is. But I want to show some data on here. Let's see if we can make this work. Add layer. Let's add temperature day. See if we got anything in here. See my temperature day. Oh, I'm doing a sort by temperature day. I want to show that as a tooltip. Tooltip, temperature day. Temperature day. There we go, 84. It'd be nice to make the bubbles look different based on the temperature, right? And I got to use the right tool for that. Okay, I added, I went to the weather and I added a layer style. And then you can pick a color. Like maybe I'll just pick bright green. And then you can pick a label to add. And I picked the day temperature, the daytime temperature there. So now you can see there's a daytime temperature. And let's do this. All right, it's not perfect, but it works pretty good. So the warmer it is, the bigger the bubble. So like the colder weather data has smaller bubbles, and the warmer weather data has larger bubbles. Yeah, like I said, it's not perfect, but it works. So what I did was in my layer that I added, I just said the label color is, I can do it by value. Select a field and then let's do temperature. I wonder if this works. Okay, so the color is going to change, and then I guess I could do it as a category. Here we go. Okay, now that's the label color. I want the bubble. The symbol is going to be by value. And then let's pick temperature. And then let's do this as a category. And then let's pick like hot to cold. Do they have something like that? Custom color palette. Start in the cold. I don't know. I'm doing this all wrong. I wonder if I could do it like this. Start here. And then end it over here. Now, and then what is that? The fill color? And then I guess I should try one of these other ones first. Okay, so there we go. So that sort of gives you an indication. I guess I could do this and then pick, I don't know. Oh, here we go. Cool and hot. There we go. See, there is a way to do it if you just put your mind to it. And so now I have, the cool, you can see the cooler temperatures are here, and then the warmer temperatures are there. This is a lot of just bit flipping, right? Just a lot of bit flipping, and that's just sort of how this stuff happens, is, just fiddling with things until you get them to look the way you want. Now I can add another layer to this map that maybe does the amount of rainfall. I can do like back to weather again, and then let's do rainfall, and then it's another bubble, and I need to add to that layer, and then I need to add rainfall, and then layer style. Let's make this by value. Rainfall, and then let's change this to just like black. There we go. And so you can see, I mean, it's still kind of ugly, but the idea is that you can flip this, right? I can like turn the weather off, the temperature off, and now you're seeing the rainfall. Yeah, a lot of rain happening in here. There's no rain going on over here. And then I can flip that and turn it back on again. Turn the temperatures back on and turn the rainfall off. Okay, so that's a good example of how you can fool around on a graph. All right, create a Cabana dashboard that when you select a city will display the average day and time and nighttime temperature for that city, in addition to a chart of average daily high and lows over time. Okay, let's try this one out. So I'm going to go back to Cabana, and this is awesome. I'm going to just save it. Oh, let me just cancel, save that dashboard. I'm going to just call this weather on map. Okay, just save that. Let's go do a dashboard. Okay, create dashboard. Let's go ahead and add let's add a line, and the index is going to be weather, and let's add temperature max, temperature min, and then in the time series, let's pick all the data that we can. Let's go way back to July, and then to now. Update. Okay, and then we should get some data in here. Now it's too much, it's too much data, so I gotta probably change this to not now. Let's just make it be a absolute range. Right, and let's go find when there's data again. It's in November 2021. That there's data. Oop. I think it was, let's just pick all of November. The start is going to be October 1st, and the end is going to be October 30th. There we go. Now we're starting to see data. Now you see I can even get more specific. There's only points of data in this example that go from, like, I can just do like the 18th. So let's just go to the 18th. Okay, there we go. And then maybe I could just end that at the 27th. There. Okay. So now I've got my points of data. Now this is a median over time. Now I probably want to display this as a line, right? So it's a line, but why is it not showing as a line? I got data on the horizontal axis. Okay, I won't worry so much about that. Just going to return this. Okay, there's that. And you know what I want to do is I want to add. I got to fix this. I got to change this. I want to add in here the in the max, and then let's put in the daytime temperature. There we go. So we got the min, the max, the day, and then let's add the evening temperature, right? And then I guess we could throw morning and night in there, seeing we're having so much fun. Okay, now it might be just too much data, but whatever, it's all good. And I'll save and return that, and then let's add a filter. So I'm going to add a control, and we're going to add an options list, and we're going to pick select city, and then my index pattern is going to be weather. My field is going to be city. Multi-select. Yeah. Let's show it as an options list. Okay. Good. Now let's get these things organized. Maybe put this over here and then get this going over here. That. Make it a little bigger. Okay, now let's pick a city. Akron, Albuquerque, Pasadena, New York. Let's do Syracuse. There you go. Wacky Syracuse weather goes up and down like crazy. Okay, so that's a good example of building a dashboard out here. Anything else that you add here, like if you want to add a card, right? So maybe I want to add just some metric. Boom. And I want it to be, let's add the rainfall, right? And then save and return that. Right, let's make this real tiny. You know, it's not that I'm bad at dashboards. Believe me, I've made plenty of dashboards. I'm just impatient. Especially when you're a Python programmer or a web developer and you can do this like in code. It's just, I don't know. I just have a thing about keeping my hands on the keyboard and not on the mouse. And it's just my bag, I guess. You know, take it for what it's worth. Like I said, it's not that I don't like it. It's just, honestly, it's more that I don't trust it, right? I'm doing these dragons and drop-ins, and it's like, is it right? Is it not right? If I'm coding it myself, I know it's right, right? So there's Syracuse. Let's Albuquerque, right? No rain, no snow. Pasadena, no rain, no snow. Let's try Pacific Northwest, like Washington State. Let's try Seattle. See if it's raining there. Usually rains in Seattle, right? There we go. 6 inches of rain is the median. Now, if you don't want median, you can change that up, right? there's all sorts of ways that you can edit the lens. See the metric says median, and you can change. Maybe you want the average rainfall. Okay, the min, average, last value. Okay, let's go with average. All these dashboard tools, by the way, are the same. They all have the same kind of bits and pieces in them. It's just a matter of you figuring out, how to use those bits and pieces. I think that's what always kind of got me about dashboarding is, we would use this product, and then I would interview for a job, and they'd be like, well, IBM Cognos, you don't know Pyramid Analytics. And I was like, well, you learn one dashboarding tool, you've learned them all, pretty much. It's just a matter of learning how that tool does whatever it is that it does. And that would take me a week. And then I would be completely proficient in that. If you give me 1 week at it, I would be, because that's all I would be doing, right? And then on the other side of that, I always would lean back and say, well, I'm also a programmer, and I can build any dashboard from scratch, or if your company needs a widget that's not here, I can figure out how to integrate with that application's SDK and build whatever widget you want to look however you want, right? As long as it has an SDK. So those are the kinds of things I would always pitch about in my job interviews when I was doing BI stuff and trying to differentiate myself. All right. Anyway, that's a dashboard for you. I'm just going to call this Weather Dash. Okay, let's move on to the last question. The last question is making a canvas. Okay, and the way canvases work is they're like dashboards, except they're just not interactive. They're just signs, right? So, if I go back here and go to canvas, and I'm not going to play around so much with the canvas. I think canvases are probably the coolest thing that Elastic has going for it. Because imagine you've got some TV set somewhere and you just want to show what's happening in Syracuse in that TV set. You can just set your screen size to be the size of the TV, and then you can add an element, and you're going to add probably in this case, some metric like you might have. Like it's just showing you a default metric, but you have to change the data around, because it's using preview data. And then you got to go back and see it's using just preview data. You don't want to use that. So you want to pick different data. And there's a couple ways you can do this. You can do an Elasticsearch document and summarize the document, or you can summarize with Elasticsearch SQL. I'll do the document first. I always bork this up, so I'll try and do it right. Let's just pick, I don't know, temperature during the day. Okay. Now, you always want to do a preview of the data, right? So there's my temperature during the day. See that? And then what do I want to display? I want to display, I don't know, the average probably makes sense. Average temperature during the day, label, temperature. Format, number, temperature, day. Okay, and it's still not working. And this is usually a problem. It says unknown variable country. So now you got to figure out where it was getting that country from, because it's still using the old values in there. And this is where it gets a little goofy. It just doesn't want to let go of what it was doing before, for whatever reason. So you just got to look around and see where it still has some trace of country. So, it says average temperature day up here, right? So it's still holding on to mean country. See that? The average country, even though it's not in there. So, I could just edit it in the code, which is like what freaks like me do. Just fix it in the code. Or A better way to do it is to you go here and you delete this value and then you add a new measure. Okay, you add a new measure here and then you pick, average temperature day, right? And then I can add another metric if I want in another one. So that's the mean temperature, and then I can add another one if I want. I can go up here again. Let me just pick another, because I'm a boring person, I'll pick another metric. Move that one out of the way. See, that one says 13 countries again, right? So I'm going to go back to data. I'm going to go back to data, and I'm going to switch my data out. This time I think I'll use Elasticsearch SQL. And I'll select star from the weather index. Okay. Now I'm getting everything from the weather index. It still says in display unique country, right? So don't fall into this trap. You got to get rid of this and then make a new measure. And then that measure is going to be, I don't know, label. All right, where is it? Okay, thank you. It's weird the way the UI works. And let's get the minimum. Let's get the minimum. Let's get the lowest low temperature. Let's get the lowest low temperature and call this lowest temperature. And then let's get one for the highest temperature. Now I'm going to be lazy and I'm just going to duplicate this. Can I duplicate this? Looks like I can duplicate it. There we go. I just copied and pasted it. And because I duplicated it, I don't have to mess around with things. I could do the max and then temperature max. And then just call this highest recorded temp. So of the max temperatures, get the max. Of the min temperature, of the min temperatures, get the min. And then what I'm building out here is maybe some dashboard that just shows you like the records, on that day or whatever. These could be the world record temperatures on that day, and I can fool around with this, and I can change these font sizes around and make them really big, and change the colors, and I can insert in here if I want. I can put a picture in here. I can throw an image behind here, and this could be like some weather stuff, and you see it puts it on top, right? So you can actually send it back in the layer. Let me do this here. Let me close that, and then the way you do this is, let me just show you. Let me get it on top of that, and you got to go here and then just do container style, and then that's okay. And I think I got to add an element. No, that's not what I want. And I think I want to, let's stretch it. Or is it cover? There we go. All right, now it's a big, ugly thing, and I want to send this to the back. So let's say view, edit. Send to back. There. So now I've got this nice, image in the background, and then I've got these data points in the foreground, right? And I can just, kind of like tell my story with this, right? And what you could do with this one in the background here, if you want, is there might be a way to like add some transparency in here, opacity. Yeah, let's do like that. So it's there we go. That looks a little better. So see. Who says I can't make a really nice looking and compelling visual? I can totally do this, right? And then these data points are updatable when this page gets refreshed and their new data is added. These values would change, right? And then that's kind of the idea behind building a canvas like this. It's more of a static It's more of a static storytelling device than a dashboard. It's you're gonna put it on a sign. So in like this highest recorded temperature, maybe I want to have like some arrow that points up, that I get off the internet. Like, and I guess I'll just do that because I'm having so much fun at this point. Just up arrow. Yeah, this is perfect right here. Red hot up arrow. Love it. And can I just copy that image? And then can I go? I probably got to download it or something. I don't know if this will work. No, see, that didn't work. So let's see here. What do we got? Add element. Is there an arrow shape? Select shape. Oh yeah, look at this. And then is there a way to rotate it? Border width, aspect ratio, element style. There's no way to rotate it. So I wonder if there's a rotate in here. Edit, rotate. View. No. It's the weird thing about these tools is it's like how do you do these? How do you do this stuff, right? Let's see, is there another shape in here? There's all these shapes, but there's no way to rotate this arrow. That's kind of nuts. There must be a way to do it, and I won't spend a lot of time on it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make this like a red hot arrow like this. Yeah, just going to pick this and then this is just going to be like, oh yeah, it's the high temperature, highest recorded high temperature. And then I'll make the other arrow blue, for the lowest temperature. Put that up there like that. This is pretty lame, but you get the idea, right? Then there's like your canvas, right? Or you could have a thermometer or whatever. It's really completely up to you, and ultimately of your choosing. Should probably take up all the space possible. Get these babies down where I want them. But this gives you like that pixel perfect layout, right? It's always going to look like this. It's always going to be exactly like this. This is how it's going to show on a display, stuff like that. That's the idea behind Canvas. Now, one last thing, I can show charts and graphs on a canvas. I don't have to stick with just these metrics. I can show a lot of other indicators as well, and you can even have a filter on there. I just I don't think that they make a lot of sense in this particular case, right? But I guess if I'm going to just finish this up, just want to do like Syracuse stuff. Got to take these out. Remember, that's the way it works. Value column is going to be city. Filter column, city. Let's give it a shot. Now I got to run the canvas to see this. So let's try it. Sure, we got this city, right? All right, and then display its lowercase city, city. Is there one more thing I need to add here? Filter group. No. Okay. View. Let's try it out. Whoop. Why can't I edit it? Weird. Yeah, so what I've learned is because it's in beta, this isn't going to work, but I could do something like this. I could, let's do this. Let's add a, um, let's add a metric. I'm just going to fiddle with this stuff a bit. I know, really, it's over. Lesson's over. You don't have to keep watching. I'm just trying to pique your curiosity when it comes to using Elastic. So I'm going to take the label off here, and I'm going to take the measure off. I'm going to format this as, I'm going to take the format off. I'm going to go to data, and let's go back and pick weather again. Where city is Syracuse. Review. Okay. Good. Save. Display. Measure. Value. Syracuse. How are you going to display it? Label. Need a label. Format. Custom. Need that. Do I? Shouldn't need that. Let's see what we get in the expression editor. Weird. I just want to get it to show that label. Let's try that. No, it doesn't like that either. Let me just see what I get in the data source, preview data. So I get that. I get that in the preview data. And I could count Syracuse, and I bet you that works, right? So if I go here to count this, why doesn't that work? Count city. A little label on there. Yeah, I'm just fooling around with this. Like I said, I would consider this over lesson, but trying stuff out. All right, rather than watching me mess around with it, I thought I'd just put it together and show you what I'm trying to do. So I made 3 canvases. I just cloned them. There's Syracuse, Miami, and Seattle. And what I did was I filtered each of these to be, I wanted it to be a variable, right? It's this Seattle, right? I wanted this to match this and then just do that, but it's like wrestling with the bear. This is why I like to code. If I did it, I could do this in code. I just can't figure out how to make the tool do it. So I just did it manually. And then I have these multiple cards. And what I'm trying to do is show you the value of using this canvas. I go up to this view and then set the auto refresh to like 30 seconds. So it'll update the weather every 30 seconds. And then I can set the auto play to cycle every 10 seconds. Okay. And then let's go ahead and do a view here. We save the canvas. Okay. And let's go ahead and let's call this canvas weather canvas. Okay. And there we have it. And then I can then take a look at it. Let's see, autoplay. Now comes the fun part, figuring out how to autoplay it. All right, here we go. I've got this this canvas going. And whoops, I didn't hit the wrong button. I done hit the wrong button. There you go. So that's what it looks like. It would show up on your computer, your TV, wherever you have this going. And it's just going to rotate. It's going to refresh the date every 30 seconds, and it's just going to rotate through each of these every 10 seconds. And that, I'm just trying to give you the idea, the potential behind building one of these canvases, is you can create this digital presence, if you will, that's data driven, right? And that's sort of the idea behind it. Okay, enough of that nonsense. You get it now, and I'm sure you're all super impressed with my canvas making abilities and stuff like that. I just wanted you to see the difference between this and a dashboard, and I don't think just slapping numbers on here is enough to show you that difference. I wanted to take some time and turn the homework into a little bit of a lesson. All right, thank you for your time. Appreciate it. Good luck on your homework. We'll see you soon. Bye.